Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Welcome. Today we are diving into the fascinating tool that I have developed in Excel that estimates longevity using the Jaimini system of astrology with a special breakthrough. It works seamlessly with the birth dates before 1900. First, I would like to thank our valued viewer, Sri A. Venkatrao Sharma-ji from Vijayawada, who inspired this topic by asking if it was possible to make longevity calculation using Excel, using the Jaimini method of astrology. This question set me on a journey to overcome the technical hurdles in Excel for handling these early dates, and I'm excited to share the solution with you. Astrology has long been a guide for understanding the stages of life, and the Jaimini system offers a unique approach by focusing on key pairs of combinations. We will see what they are. While estimating longevity is very complex, this Excel tool offers an insightful look into the life phases using our traditional astrological principles. I'll walk you through the nuances of these calculations, how this Excel tool works, how it opens up a fresh perspective of Jaimini astrology in Excel. Welcome. I would like to start with this quote from the Bhagavad Gita. Jatasya dhruvo mrityor dhrubham jarma mritasya cha. For one who has taken birth, death is certain. And for one who has died, birth is certain. Therefore, you should not lament over the inevitable, says the Bhagavad Gita. So, with this in mind, let us begin this. And there are some more quotes. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. It's not the length of life, but the depth of life, says Emerson. Our life is a constant journey from birth to death. The landscape changes, the people change, our needs change, but the train keeps moving. Life is the train, not the station. The art of longevity is something new every day, and let us get into this learning. It's a Jaimini system and its focus on lifespan estimation. I have put it in Excel. This considers three pairs, pair 1, pair 2 and pair 3. In the first pair, it is the Lagna Lord, in which sign that Lagna Lord is placed, whether it is a fixed sign or a mobile sign or a dual sign, that is to be first of all got. And similarly, the pairing element with that is the 8th Lord. For each Lagna, the 8th Lord is not just a zodiacal count that we normally do. It is a special way of counting. Normally, if it is Aries, the 8th Lord, of course, is as per normal Scorpio. But if it comes to Taurus, you have to jump to this 7th house from Taurus, which is Scorpio itself. And from Scorpio, you get to the 8th Lord, 8th house, Gemini. So that way, you have for even signs and odd signs differently. And Cancer, you count in the reverse direction. When it is this table you can directly use for finding the 8th house, and therefore the 8th Lord. And where that 8th Lord, which sign it is placed in, so that you get whether it is in a fixed or movable dual. And then there are some special cases here. When the 8th Lord happens to be the same as the Lagna Lord, then you have to see the Excel itself. Okay. Pair 2 is, some people take the Lagna, mainly the Lagna and the moon. Pair 3 is the Lagna and the Hora Lagna. I have given a choice because Sanjay Rath says that you take Saturn instead of the Lagna. So this pairing, if you get to know this movable dual and all that, see, movable is a life-giving aspect of life, like maybe Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Movable signs have Pitta in them, that is a life-giving force. Vata is the fixed sign. Vata, of course, the air element, the dual sign. And Kapha will normally stagnates and makes you flat. Fixed, when fixed, you are laying down and dead. Movement is life. So when you see movable signs coming up, you get more life. Dual, of course, it is an average life, middle life. And if it is going to be fixed, it is going to be a short life. So depending upon movable, dual or fixed, you get a long life, a middle life or a short life. And since we are going to see two elements here, one is showing fixed, the other is movable, then how do we average it out? If both are there, the third element would be the average. The fixed plus movable would give dual, and therefore dual represents the middle life. Okay, middle span. You get only a middle span. If it is a movable and a dual, the third element, which is the fixed, turns out, and fixed, as I said, would give you a short life. So you have a combination of movable, dual, fixed, and that way you can definitely find out what is the final result of these combinations. And we have three pairs now. So you have to average out. How do we average out? It is the two repeats, then that would be dominating. And suppose if two doesn't repeat, all the three repeats, of course, no question about it. That's the average. So we have calculations. The UDF determines whether how do we average out the three pairs. Okay. And there are some special rules. If moon is in the center or in the seventh, then you pay more value to this where moon is figuring in. So you take whatever is giving this. You don't average based upon all the three, but you just take what is the average of these two. And that's one exception rule you have to be aware of. And that way you get whether it's a middle life or a dual life or short life or a long life. And for these things, depending upon the yoga, basically the pairs that we get, if all the three yogas agree, then you can, for long life, it is 96 years, 108 years, 120 years, that way is a calculation that is shown by some. Some people use 33 and maybe multiples of 33. So if it's going to be a long life, say for instance, you get the span out 108, 72, 36, because here it happens to be a short life, a middle life and a short life. So two are agreeing. When two are agreeing, two yogas agree, then for this is the span 36, 72, 108. So that is why 36, 72, 108 is taken here. And then there are some rules, like if Atmakaraka is in Bhava 1, then it is very powerful to increase your longevity quite strongly. And therefore, this span, if you get, it changes the span itself. Instead of middle, you jump to the immediate longer lifespan, depending upon this Viparita Ayush Yoga. If Atmakaraka is 1, 5, 7 or 9, that will really make you jump to the next higher span. That is the Viparita Yoga that we get. And then thus we arrive at either the final long or whatever life guaranteed for you, lifespan that is guaranteed for you. And then there are what are called Kaksha Rasams, Kaksha Vriddhis or Kaksha Rasams. So we will get into the Excel as we Kaksha Vriddhi is increment above from the start of the span, how much increment you are the planets are allowing you. And Rasam is the decrement that comes forth because of the placement of planets and things like that. So finally you get the final age from the start of the age span to really the longevity that you can see within that span. And there is also the method by B.V. Raman in his one of the books on Jaimini Sutram, so Jaini astrology. He has given, when we see these pairs P1, P2 and P3, so for pair 1, You have those two planets, and pair 2 you have the ascendant and the moon. Because normally you get Saturn or ascendant, whatever you can choose. You have chosen as a ascendant and moon, and ascendant and Oralagna. Then you see the degree of the planets that are concerned there. Here it happens to be Moon and Jupiter for the pair 1, because the first lord happens to be Moon in this case, and the 8th lord happens to be Jupiter for this native. So how far the planet has advanced within the 30 degrees in whichever Rasi it is in, that much amount of longevity is lost. Only the next advancement that it has, that is the longevity it can contribute to. So based upon that theory, he says the longevity gets reduced by, I said 21.62, because it is the per degree of advancement, you lose 1.1 years. 1.1 is basically if it is going to be short life, it is 33 by 30, the 30 degrees that year. It's basically prorated based upon that. So you get to know how much is you are going to reduce and what is the average reduction between P1 and P2. And once you know the average reduction, you know how much the years that are getting contributed by the planet. You have to work it out only for whatever is applicable to you. So in this case, only pair 2 is applicable, because the final result is middle, and the middle is showing up only year, not year or year. So you work out it out only for that, and that tells you when the person would die. So this is one method that works for some individuals. Let us see where we get these things, where these things fail. So let us plunge into the Excel now. Okay. Here, as I said, one major breakthrough for me is getting this Excel for the pre-1900 dates. So we have now I can see Adolf Hitler, Aravinda Ghosh, which were all not working before. And this is something I want to share with you. But this has some restrictions of how to enter the data. You have to enter the user input specifically as a text. So if you have to enter 1889-04, I'll have to start with this sign, which is a single quote, and then write exactly 1889 and put a hyphen there, put a 04. You have to be very, very careful about this entry, because I'm parsing all this in Excel. So you have to be specifically putting this in this particular format only. Okay. So you put that as a text. See, I am starting with a single quote there so that it is a text. And you have to enter the hours and minutes. If you want, you can introduce a column for seconds also, because the previous year births I did not. Of course, this can be used not only for pre-1900. It can be used for any birth. The place is of course irrelevant. It's not used just for our reference. Of course, you have to give the time zone, and most of the time zones, most of the birth data for hours and minutes are LMT values that are given in the previous way of representing the birth times. It's not based upon say IST or any standard time. So the local mean time is what would be given. So I prefer that either you use the local mean time and adjust the time zone there. If we give 5.5 for instance for India, that means it's all IST based. So you have to convert these times from the local time to IST and give it. Similarly for other countries. So that is one preferred way of doing it. Otherwise, you give the LMT and then put the time zone of that particular place itself, that's one way of doing it as well. I prefer the first giving the IST itself or the standard time itself. So, another file for converting the LMT to the IST. So let me pull it out. So in this Excel, you give the longitude of the birth. The standard longitude for India is 82.5. For some other countries, you can use the standard longitude as well. Then you say what is the LMT. This person, MK Gandhi, for instance, was born at 7 hours 20 minutes. So that is a local mean time. So if you want to convert that to a standard time based upon this 82.5 degrees, which is the Allahabad longitude, then I have a converter here. So it will automatically tell you the time for IST. So this time is what you have to use. I will share this Excel also with you for easy conversion of LMT to IST or local mean time to any standard time of the country. Now, so once that is done, you don't have to give anything else. The time of birth is converted to say decimal year, and from that I'm getting the Julian date right away year directly. If you are interested in the calculation, you can check the Excel, and now the codes are slightly different. I have called it a calculate Lagna degree from text. So if you are going to use my previous Excels, those would have a different code inside the VBA. Now this is a different code because the Julian date there were all calculated inside the VBA. Now I'm calculating the Julian date outside in Excel because the parsing is all done that way, and Excel doesn't calculate easily the pre-1900 date. So this way only helps me. And the sunrise was a very big nuisance getting correct sunrise here. I managed that, so you can check it out if it works. So these are calculations. You can get into the VBA code and see if how these things work. So luckily it has come out nicely. So now let us get into specific case studies, how I am going to use this Excel tool. See, you have to choose the name of the person here. Maybe let us maybe begin with, I saw a beautiful reference paper that is in the Saptarishis for I have given that also here. So nicely laid out by Irangati Rangacharya's article of how these calculations are erected. You can just follow that because our Excel will more or less fully be in tune with what is said in that paper. So yes, some specific case studies which we will also follow. So he has taken up case studies of Swami Vivekananda. So luckily now our Excel will do all that. So let me show you how it works. So immediately I have just to choose the case of interest. And as I said, the Hora Lagna is one of the past. First is the Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord. Second is either you have Saturn that you can choose or you can choose Lagna. So most of the people choose Lagna. Sanjay Raj's Upadesha Sutras suggests Saturn. So you can try out both. I have given it as an option. The third pair is the Hora Lagna, which is a very important Hora. It's the sunrise calculation in Hora Lagna is very, very important, and the calculation is extremely sensitive to the sunrise time that we get, and you can compare the sunrise time that we get here to what say Jagannatha Hora or any chart gives you. So let us pull Swami Vivekananda's chart in Jagannatha Hora and see how it fares. So let me pull out Swami Vivekananda's chart here. Okay. So sunrise you always check. Sunrise 6:22:40 it says. And what do I get here? I get 6:48. So we're quite close. So for the same time, of course, you have to ensure that you are giving the same time. 6:07 a.m. It has given 6:09 a.m. So you have to change that here. And latitude, longitude, you have to give the 6:22:40. So 6:22:48. So seconds are not matching. At least the minutes are matching. Ensure that the IST. Suppose if you want to give the LMT, you have to click here, and it will automatically change the time zone according to the longitude that you have specified here in Jagannatha. Whereas you can choose that way and put that LMT in our Excel also. That is one way, as I said. So, and Hora Lagna is calculated as 21 degrees Sagittarius. And what do you get here? You get 21 degrees Sagittarius. So there will be slight differences in the minutes also because Hora Lagna is extremely sensitive to small errors. So, but the sign is what is important here, and the sign here, if it comes out all right, then it's okay. So Degrees doesn't matter here in this calculation. That is one aspect, and many people use the other definition of, not many people, at least some of them. So you can use the Parivritti Hora Lagna, as some people suggest. The Parivritti Hora Lagna is, you have to choose the Hora chart as a Parivritti year. And if you want to check the divisional chart for the Parivritti Hora Lagna, you can check what is the Lagna coming out. 21 degrees Virgo. So it's totally different Hora Lagna. So you get 21 degrees Virgo here. So that way, I have given a choice of what to use. I prefer using the normal Hora Lagna that is defined from sunrise, so that you use that. So some of that turns out, well, of course, it is left your choice to play around with that. So as I said, the degree, all these are calculated, the Charakarakas are calculated, and the benefics here, the yellow colored marked ones are the only benefics. Mercury is always benefic, irrespective of whether it is joining a malefics or not. Mercury is considered to be benefic. The other planets, moon, if it is going to be a waxing moon, then it is going to be automatically chosen as a benefic year. Otherwise, depending upon the Tithi, with Krishna Paksha, Shukla Paksha, it will automatically change for you. So these are the benefics, and the dignity, I have put it here as in own house or exalted or in a debilitated state. So these are required because you have the Baba Lord, 8th house, which is the 8th house, as I said, the 8th house definition itself is different. That's in workspace, you can check, as we saw already the initial explanation. And the Kakshaya years of increment or decrement that I was speaking about, once the span has been determined, that is depending upon these dignities. You can calculate this. You can also refer to the article that I was suggesting. And moon, the Jupiter is a very powerful giver of longevity. Jupiter gives 6, and if it is going to be exalted, 12. So, and if it also, it's the life giver. The other planets, if it is, you can go through this article of these conditions of how these Kakshaya years are determined, and also verify if this turns out to be right, and modify if required. So that is one aspect. Okay. As I already said, I have explained to you how this B.V. Raman's method of reduction of degree, how far the planet has moved within a house, within a Rasi. That will in fact reduce that will be a measure of the reduction of longevity for you. And the remaining portion would be the portion that it will contribute as a age. So that is calculated here. At the rate of the loss of reduction is say 1.1 years per degree. So based upon that, these are calculated. So I have already explained to you this. As I said, you can choose the Lagna or the Saturn year as per what you want. Maybe the average part I did not explain properly. Mobile to mobile, both are mobile. Then you have a long life. If you have a mobile and a fixed, the third portion would determine the life. Dual would be middle life. So mobile, dual, the third portion would be fixed. So that will be a short life. So depending upon these conditions, this is taken out. These three are determined, and the averaging is further determined if for 2 or there is a code here. If you check here, I have a VLOOKUP, but if you want the code itself, I am finding this portion lifespan. You can go into the code and check what I have done there inside. So in essence, we get what is the corrected initial term of net term of life that a person gets guaranteed. And depending upon if it is long, as I said, how many are agreeing here, a short, middle and middle. So 2 are agreeing. So for middle, you have to go through that span, and that gets, those are very clear from these calculations. You can straightforward. Once that is done, I have given a choice here whether for the user to pull in whether it is required or not, because each book gives different methods of the condition and in which you need to increase or decrease the longevity that is already determined here. So suppose this person Here maximum is 108 years because the long life is determined. But of course, Vivekananda died at a very short age. So here, as per B.V. Raman's calculation of 39, we exactly get 39 per B.V. Raman's calculation. How these calculations, maybe let us walk through that for the specific example. You have the P1 is this Jupiter here. Of course, this is only these are highlighted. Pair 2 and pair 3 only matter because as per this result, it is middle life. So those are only highlighted. This is not relevant to this Vivekananda's case. So there we get the degree of the moon, the degree of the Hora Lagna, the degree of the ascendant is this, degree of the moon is this. Therefore, it is going to lose this much life, this much life it is going to reduce at the rate of say whatever this is, suppose it is 33 minus 30 by 30, that is, as I said, 1.1 years per degree. So into the degree that is it has advanced, that will give you the reduction. You average out the reduction, and as per the pairs table, of course this is already written here, middle, and therefore this is you see if it is going to be a initial lifespan, so you can follow those things very easily. And the net average contribution turns out to be just 3 years. And the lifespan for this starts at 36 because it starts at 36 to 72 because middle lifespan. So it starts at 36. 0 to 32 is the first portion. 32 to 32 or 33 because depending upon these combinations. So here it is 36. So 36 to 72 is the middle. And from 36 he has just got 3 more years to live. So 39, and he died in 39. So this turns out to be very accurate for Vivekananda's case. That way you can check multiple cases here. We have say, let us see, Morarji Desai, who lived very long. So one case of Morarji Desai, it says 99. So it works out this is only 74. Whereas when you come here and you say the maximum years is a long life for him, long, and middle, therefore 2 are dominating, therefore long year. Maybe you can try out the other one also. So what here it does is, once you say the long, the span starts at 72 to 108. So out of 72 to 108, you calculate, it starts at 72 and there is going to be increment or decrement depending on the conditions that you can watch this paper. So when to increment and when to decrease it. This beautifully calculates for me. Basically, if it is going to be an increment, you have a plus sign there or a minus sign there, and these are added together and the unique counters are got, and in case there is Kakshaya Vriddhi, it calculates, and then upon 72 to plus 31 he gets 103. So after 103 he lived for 100 years. So this works better for Morarji Desai's case. This is also not bad. It at least identifies the span. It is a long lifespan. So of course it is way off, but and this is troublesome because the user, if he puts a yes there, it will be only 63 here. So because a lot of contributions negative here. So you can play around with this. Maybe if you put a Saturn there, then also there is not much change because it is still a long life there. So depending on the conditions, and here also you can play around instead of how does the parivritti work for him. So these are given as an option. So play around, check, download, give us the feedback of how to improve it, how it works for you. Thank you very much for your patience, and I definitely look forward to your feedback through comments and sharing this Excel with others and the videos with others. Thank you.